Here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. Well, this has been the week, hasn't it? It's actually been a couple of weeks. We got the Ninth Circuit saying there is no right to carry a gun, open or concealed. There's no right to bear guns, to bear arms. You kidding me? I know it says keep them bare, but it doesn't really mean that last part, that bear thing. Forget that. And they got Joe Biden coming out. You know, he's paying off his debt. I mean, we know what's going on. He's paying off his debt and proposing all sorts of moves, some executive actions orders that he's going to try to do. Some he's going to ask Congress to do that they're probably not going to be able to do. But there are other sneaky things that he can do, working through the State Department, blocking imports, some other things, couching it all under the guise of health crisis, public health. One of the people who's been following this for many years, a really good observer and commenter on the whole thing, is Cam Edwards, editor of bearingarms.com, also, of course, the host of Cam and Company. Hey, Cam, how you doing, man?
Hey, Tom, I'm good. Thanks so much for the invite.
Good. We appreciate having the shaggy one here with us today. Oh, bearded one. So you've been watching this thing for a long time. You watched this. I mean, I guess let's start off with Biden. He comes out. He's got this list of things. It's like, you know that they've propped him up and they've given him this thing. And, you know, and then he just proceeds to not only say stupid things, which is kind of forgivable, but just the lies of saying things like, well, the only industry that can't be sued is the firearms industry. And everybody's going, what? That's wrong. That's not even close to being right. What's your take on this whole thing?
Yeah, well, you know, I think you said something really important, that Biden is paying his election debt. You know, gun control advocates spent more than $100 million electing Joe Biden, and they want their money's worth, right? And you know, the lies that we heard from Joe Biden, whether it was you can walk into a gun store and buy any, or a gun show and buy any gun you want without a background check, or the firearms industry, the only industry in America you can't sue them. You know, as you say, these are not mistakes. These are not verbal gaffes. These are intentional lies. Just like, you know, Biden calling the Georgia voting law Jim Crow on steroids, or Jim Eagle. You know, he's trying to set a narrative here. And the facts are not as important. In fact, the facts are detrimental to his cause and to the cause of gun control advocates, which is why they need to have this narrative, fiction over fact. And it's why it's so incumbent on us as gun owners and Second Amendment advocates to, you know, actually get the word out about what the truth is regarding background checks, what the truth is in terms of the Protection of Lawful Commerce and Arms Act. And to point out that, you know, look, if Biden's argument is really so great, he wouldn't have to lie about it in order to make his case.
Yeah, and you make a great point. It's up to us, all of us, not just those of us with megaphones like you and me, but everybody because everybody's got a megaphone of some sort. You have a circle of social media friends and whatever to get the word out. And somebody asked me this week, Cam, he said, well, you know, when they do something like this, why don't we call a press conference and we tell all the lies that they're telling, we expose it all? And I told him, I said, well, we can and we do, but the reality is the general media, number one, won't come, and most certainly has chosen to not report on it. So if you do all those things and you can't get it reported in the general media, the public is left with the impression that those lies are the truth because they've not heard anything else, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. You know, a lot of this is the media willfully ignoring the other side. We saw this even with, you know, an outlet that's as friendly as Fox News in their profile of David Chipman, who Joe Biden nominated to run ATF.
Yeah, let's talk about
there's
that.
There's one line, like one brief mention to David Chipman, who has supported more gun control, but they say that he belongs to the gun safety organization Giffords. They ran a quote in which he talked about how he's a responsible gun owner with his carry permit. And he's just, of course, in favor of, you know, reasonable, common sense gun safety regulations. I mean, this is Fox News. You know, failing to point out that David Chipman went directly from the ATF to go to work for Michael Bloomberg and Mayors Against Illegal Guns, He's now going directly from Giffords, the gun control group set up by Gabrielle Giffords and her husband, Mark Kelly, the junior senator from Arizona now, going directly from working for Giffords to heading up the agency that oversees our nation's, gun regulations and our gun laws. I mean, this is absurd. And if Trump had done this, if he had appointed Larry Keane of the National Shooting Sports Foundation to head up the ATF.
Or Wayne LaPierre.
Exactly, right? That would have been a huge story. That would have been front page news on the New York Times, Washington Post. That would have led the nightly news. The gun control advocates would have been outraged.
Right, and rightly so.
The media doesn't even really give this it's not even mentioned. He's a career veteran of the ATF. I mean, that's the media environment in which we operate in.
Let me put a fine point on it. David Chipman is Joe Biden's selection as nominee to head up the ATF. He has been working for gun ban organizations. He has been working for groups who say, you as a citizen don't have a right to own a gun. And Biden wants to put him in charge of the ATF, which has the ability, either gradually or rapidly, to shut down many, if not most, of the gun stores in America. I mean, all you got to do is say, look, guys, if you go in and find one transposed number on a form, shut down that gun store right there. Boom. Instead of a warning, instead of a remedial action, we're going to pull your license right there. They have the ability to do that. And this is the guy. It is so absurd. Now, to be fair, I don't know. I'd love to get your take on it. I don't think Chipman can get the position. I don't think the Senate is going to confirm him.
Larry Keane said the same thing to me on Thursday of this week, and I suspect you're right. I don't think Manchin would go along with it. I'm not sure about Susan Collins of Maine. Actually, she's the one that kind of worries me. But here's the thing: even if Biden can't get Chipman confirmed, he can appoint Chipman as acting director of the ATF, right?
Correct.
And so he can put, that Chipman would not have quite as much leeway as an acting director as he would as a permanent director, but he would still be able, I think, to do some damage. And as you say, put a mentality in place at the agency that really is about, redefining statutes so broadly as to sweep up millions of legal gun owners in these brand new definitions of what a short-barreled rifle is, or when it comes to, unfinished frames and receivers. Chipman's also a guy who, even before Joe Biden announced his gun ban plan, said that he believed that AR-15s needed to be registered under the National Firearms Act. And, of course, if you didn't, then you could be looking at 10 years in prison. Yep. He's a guy who says it should be a crime for you and I to sell each other a gun, Tom.
Right.
I'm 99% sure you're not a prohibited person, and I know I'm not.
Right.
But Chipman thinks that one of us should go to prison if we sell the other one a gun without going through a background check. I mean, this is a guy who is, he is, as you say, he's steeped in the anti-gun philosophy.
He is. Hold that thought a second here, Cam. We're talking with Cam Edwards. He's the editor of BearingArms.com and also, of course, the host of Cam and Company. The other thing that's happening here, we'll talk about when we come back, is you got Biden, who's proposed all these things, and within 48 hours, several states have said, oh, no. We're going to take you to court over those. Attorney generals and at least one governor has said, we're going to take this one on. We'll talk about that when we come back. We're talking with Cam Edwards. He's the host of Cam and Company, of course, the editor of BearingArms.com. We'll talk about, the White House effort, the Joe Biden effort, putting out, directions to the Justice Department. The Justice Department will, within 30 days, issue a proposed rule to help stop the quote-unquote proliferation of ghost guns. Now, Cam, we've watched this long enough to know that the gun ban industry is really good at coming up with these cool, cute terms. Saturday Night Special, assault weapon, ghost gun. It goes on and on. In this case, what this would do would stop the 250-year history of it being legal to make your own firearm, wouldn't it?
It would do a lot to curtail it. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it depends on the wording, but that is certainly the intent of what the administration wants to do. Obviously, with 3D printing, it is, I think, increasingly feasible to make a gun at home without even needing an unfinished frame or receiver, right? You don't have to buy an 80% low or anything like that. I'm sure that Biden and the DOJ are going to try to structure that administrative order as broadly as possible. I don't know that it's going to be easy for them to include 3D printed firearms in that. But as you alluded to, it sounds like every one of these orders from Biden and the DOJ guidance or regulations, be it on quote-unquote ghost guns or on stabilizing braces, sounds like, we're going to see court challenges filed very quickly to whatever comes down the road here.
We've had several attorneys general have already said we're going to challenge it. One governor who doesn't want it out quite yet has said we are absolutely going to sue Biden and the White House and the Justice Department. Stop this. But what was interesting is that people said, well, there's only so much he can do. Well, clearly he or the people around him, I'm not sure he's aware of a whole lot, but people around him are aware that all he can do is say, we're going to have the Justice Department look at this, and basically trying to get the ATF to once again redefine what a firearm is. And right now, the bump stock case is progressing, and I think they're going to end up losing, and the ATF is not going to be able to just say a bump stock is a machine gun, because it's not, clearly. And I think these probably lose because they're trying to say, we know we can't get it through Congress, so we're going to try to do it with this in-run around the thing. And this is kind of where we are. Here's the one that I didn't see that can happen, I think, with the stroke of a pen, which is through the State Department, they can stop the importation of ammunition. And that would be the cheapest, the practice ammo that people use to maintain competency. Talk about making the ammo situation worse. Holy cow.
Yeah, you're right. And we've never seen it done before, but go back to H.W. Bush back in '89, and it was his ban on the importation of, 42 models of semi-automatic rifles.
Right.
Yeah, there is a lot of leeway, you're right, that the president could use in terms of going after ammunition. Now, again, I think that would be legally challengeable, but as to the ultimate outcome, that I'm unsure of, and you're right, that would have a huge impact on people. But if it would also, Tom, again, he might be able to say, well, we're trying to cut down on violent crime or mass shootings, but the response and the truthful response from the Second Amendment community would be, no, you're cutting down on legal gun owners being able to go to the range and train. You're cutting down on the people who are required to undergo, live fire training exercises in order to get their concealed carry license, or as they want to do in Delaware, in order for you to purchase a handgun, you'd have to go through an 8-hour training course with 100 rounds of ammunition fired downrange. You want to curtail those people from exercising your Second Amendment rights.
Right.
So it may be that that's not the political battle that Biden wants at this particular point in time. He may be holding it in reserve.
Yep.
But it's another weapon that he has available if indeed, it comes to that, and the gun control advocates start agitating for more executive actions because he can't get his gun control through Congress at the moment.
All right, let me ask you, if you got 30 seconds left, which is what you got, what do you want people to do? What should we be doing to try to fight this?
I think, first of all, you need to be in contact with your senators and your representatives. Secondly, you need to join an organization that is willing to fight this fight. And then you need to stay engaged. You need to know what's going on, and you need to talk to your friends and family about this, not, ranting and raving about it, but you need to explain what the media is not telling them about Biden's gun control plans.
You can find out a lot of that information over at bearingarms.com. Cam covers that very well, provides you your intellectual ammunition. Cam, thank you so much for what you do, and thanks for being here.
Thanks, Tom. Have a good day.
All righty, you take care.